first episode of Season 2 of The Digressor. It's a podcast where I basically talk about whatever. I try to stay on topic, but I usually don't. So you probably notice a little something different at the beginning of this. I didn't just start talking. I have opening music now. So, yeah, I wanted to do that. It's something I've always wanted to do. I'm trying to make it more professional sounding, this podcast, instead of just me talking and then stopping. So, yeah. For the first episode of Season 2 and 2021, I was trying to think, what will the episode be about? And there's several things I want to talk about, but for this episode... Yeah, that's still a thing. I haven't gotten that fixed. It might be a while, but for this episode, I want to talk about basically updates, my plans for 2021 or the season. I don't know how the seasons thing gonna work. I don't know, like, if it's just gonna be each year is a season, like 2022 will be season 3, or I don't know. I'm still winging it. But for now, like, I have plans. I was gonna wait to announce this, but might as well do this now. I'm actually designing a website, which sounds more impressive than it really is. I'm using WordPress. It's like, I don't know how to code, so I'm not like literally building a website. I am putting it together with WordPress. I am building the pages and like linking everything, and I'm trying to make it so that I actually got the idea from Crime Junkies, where they have a website and they have an episodes page, and they have a page for every single episode that includes additional information like pictures and links to additional sources and stuff. And I was like, hey, why don't I do that? And so I'm making a page for every single episode. And I've done like the first, I think, 8 episodes. And the problem is I keep adding more episodes. So it's like I'm getting more ahead, and I already put a lot of work in, and I had to cut back on what I was doing, because originally for the video version of this, I was gonna make it more detailed. Like, now that I have a professional video editor, I was gonna like go in and make it like kind of flashy and stuff, and I did that for one episode, and that was very time consuming, and I was only able to do that because I was in quarantine. But now I don't have that kind of time. So I just went back to just slapping a logo on, saying, hey, here's the video. So, building a website, I've actually been doing this since November. And I'm getting there, but I don't want to publish it until I've completed it. And then I can do the episodes. What I'm hoping to get to, because right now, because I don't do a lot of planning per episode like this. Like, I was watching videos on YouTube, and I was like, you know what, let's do an episode. And like 5 minutes ago, I was watching videos on YouTube, and I'm like, you know, screw it, let's do an episode. I do very little planning for this. Some episodes I do, like the bridge one, I actually had to do. That's the closest thing to a script I've ever done, and they were really long. Like, it looked really long. I'm like, oh, this should be a lot of content, and it was like 20 minutes, and I'm like, oh well, that's not what I was expecting. So, yeah, winging it works for me, for the most part. And I was going to do a New Year's Eve episode and have that be the season 1 finale, but then I did, the Christmas Eve, took the mic to work, and my favorite coworker and I did an episode. Sarah, she was my first guest, and I was like, how am I going to top that for the season finale? And then I was like, I can't. So I retroactively made that the season finale. And if I had known that beforehand, I would have said it in the episode, like, oh, by the way, last episode of the year. So, but yeah, yeah. Should I say former favorite coworker? No, we didn't have a falling out. She even said in the episode she was leaving. She only had like a week left. So, New Year's Eve was her last day. And we went. I went. I was scheduled for 5. She was scheduled to get off at 1, and so I went up there at noon and was like, "Oops, I was looking at the wrong schedule." And so like she and I had planned that out. So like I was gonna go up there, and then we spent the whole afternoon hanging out. We went to Walmart. There's not much to do here, but yeah. Anyway. So with the website, what I'm planning on doing is I looked and thedigresser.com is available. So I'm going to complete the website because I'm doing more than just doing episode pages. I'm going to like put a bunch of other stuff on there because I have a whole bunch of plans for that. I just want to say too much because it's the extra stuff is like the big thing is the episodes, and but like then there's like the smaller things. I want to make it sound bigger than it is right now. And then when I launch it, everyone's like, "That's it." Like, yeah. Uh, um, but yeah, I am going to like flesh it out and then do a like register a domain because I have a main blog. It's called the blog. It's the all one word, the blog about whatever .wordpress.com. No dashes or anything. Just that's why I said one word. And I've been sharing that for years. I think I started that in 2011, and that's been my main blog. And I didn't register a domain for it because I wanted theblog.com, and obviously that's taken. And the blog about whatever.com is out of the question because that's way too long. And like I was even trying to do like pun names or something, and everything I come up with was taken, or all that. So yeah, I don't want to release this into the world, this website, without creating a domain, like registering a domain, because that looks so unprofessional. I'm trying to make this professional looking sounding. And one way to do that is to fix my computer so it's not making that noise because it's really annoying. But also, there was something else. I don't do a lot of planning, but I should probably do some sort of like bullet points because there was something. The talking about the website reminded me of something else. I don't remember. I I have ideas for other guests. I have been talking to other people. Nothing like nothing. Nobody that anybody listening would know. Well, actually, maybe because I found out a couple of people I know in person have been listening. Hi, you. And so you might know these people that I've been talking to about guesting. But if any random people, like in Australia or whatever, are listening, well, I do have a couple friends in Australia. So that you know what I mean. Somebody I don't actually know is listening to this. You might not know them because there's people I know in person here that don't do podcasting. They were like, "Hey, can I be a guest?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But we gotta plan stuff because like our schedules are like way off. And one of them, the one I'm looking forward to, she actually gave me several podcast episode ideas. Several of the when I was like on episode 5, I messaged her. I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. She gave me a list of topic ideas, and like half of my episodes so far have been off that list. She asked if she can be a guest, and I said, "Oh, sure, yeah, of course." And we've got to arrange things because her schedule. So yeah, hopefully I have get more guests. That makes it more interesting instead of just me talking about whatever for however long. But other than that, there's other things I do. Okay, for this episode, I definitely should have made bullet points or something. One thing I definitely need to work on is getting that computer fixed. I've already contacted Micro Center, and they're like, "Bring it in," and I was like, I will at some point when I find time. Don't have much time. Micro Center is not even remotely close to where I am. It's like an hour away, and I don't drive. I would have to get an Uber, which would be expensive, or get a friend to drive me, which I don't have anyone who's not also busy. So that is going to be a while. So even though this episode currently is only, I don't know how long it currently is, because this is like my third audio file. Every time I stop and start, I don't just pause, I stop and then start a new audio file. So I don't know how long this is, and the reason I've already had to stop and start, I've already taken steps towards making this more professional, because before I would just record in one take, or even if I had to do multiple takes, I wouldn't do any editing. And so if I coughed or yawned or all that, I would just leave them in, and I would yawn and be like, okay, I wish I could edit that out. And I've already edited out like 3 coughs. So because I am recording this directly into Audio Director, I can edit this as I'm recording. It's just awesome. Well, not like literally as I'm recording. I can stop, go like tweak it, and then continue recording, like on the fly, which is awesome. Part of the reason I was kind of lazy and the whole editing thing is I didn't want to go through the entire episode like, okay, when did I sneeze? Oh yeah, I sneezed at 20 minutes and 32 seconds in. Let's go to that point. No. So this makes it easier because I can just, it's like I cough and like, oops, and then crop out, continue. Yeah. I'm sure you can, I don't know if you can tell where the edits are. I'm sure the giveaway is the computer. It's like, hey, did it skip it? But yeah, that's just exciting to me that I can do that. I've gone from recording directly onto my phone, and now I have opening music and can edit and have the professional quality stuff, which is, this is episode, should I, no, okay, no, this is episode 23. I was gonna say, should I just start back at episode 1, because it's season 2? But no, it's Mandalorian logic. It's season 2, episode 1, episode 23. So I'm gonna continue the numbering. It's just, you won't know it's season 2, and, well, I don't know what I'm gonna call this. Podcast episode number 2 or something, I don't know. I've also, with my logos, I've gotten better at that. Before, I was just posting, like, pictures indicating what they were, what the episode was about. But then again, that got a little complicated because some of the topics I was talking about didn't really have pictures associated with it. Especially my Ghost Stories one. The turning point was my favorite podcasters episode. I'm sure they wouldn't mind if I used their logos, especially considering I'm like, hey, they're my favorite, it's an appreciation post. I still didn't want to use anyone else's logo on my logo. So I just typed in my favorite logos. My favorite my favorite podcasters. And then my next one was my favorite YouTubers, and it was the same thing. I didn't want to copy logos. And so I just called it that. But then after I finished that and I went on to the next, I remember what the next episode was. I actually went to go look up pictures for the next episode, and I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just keep this tradition? Why do I use the pictures? Why don't I just type it? So that's where that went. But then, like, instead of just typing it with the same font, which is, Actually, hang on. What is the font called? It's a really cool font. I found it on um, Defont. I get all my fonts from Defont. It's called this font that I use for the podcast and the logo titles. It's called Payback, and it's really cool. So yeah, and so uh, okay. So even though I use the Cyberlink for pretty much everything, with the exception of the logos. I use Photoscape. I've been using Photoscape since like 2011, I think, and now they have a paid version, and I paid for it. I'm like, as soon as I saw there was a paid version, I'm like, heck yeah! and so I do the logo with that because you can do cool things with the text. I'm sure you can in Photo Director. I'm not ready to make that commitment to that one because I've already sunk so much time into Photoscape and I'm used to it. It's comfortable. And I don't want to change it yet. So, but kind of have to because what I've started doing, and I'm sure you notice in the bridge episode, the episode before the Christmas Eve one. Christmas Eve I made in Photoscape because it was this straightforward. But in the bridge one, I did the photo overlay thing where the photo is behind the text and all that. It looked really cool. And I can't do that in Photoscape. I had to use Photo Director, which I cannot tell you how excited I was when I finally got that, because I did it in Photoshop years ago for my sister. My sister was pregnant with my nephew, and so she had a name picked out for him, and I took the ultrasound and I put the ultrasound in his name and sent it to her, and like she liked that. And I figured out how to do that on Photoshop because a friend of mine they had Photoshop, and I was like, "Can I use your Photoshop? I want to try something." And I made that for my sister on Photoshop, and I was really excited. And so I wanted to do that again with this, and I already have an idea for what I'm going to do with this, and I'm easily amused, and like all these things, like it's probably like I don't know. Sometimes I'll get excited about things that everyone else does, but it's like the fact that I finally can do it. And like some people are like, "Why are you excited about that?" Literally everyone has done that. I'm like, well, I haven't. Yeah, like I got smartphones late. Like everyone was having a smartphone beginning of last decade. Well, I feel old. I got my first smartphone in 2014. It was a Galaxy S4. And I was all excited about all these features. Like, there's an app for this, there's an app for that, look what my phone can do. And everyone's like, yeah. Like, I'm sorry, I have been sticking with a flip phone till now. Well, no, it wasn't a flip phone. I didn't have a flip phone. My last flip phone was 2009. When I got a smartphone, my previous phone was a slider phone. I still had a slider phone in 2014. I upgraded to a smartphone. At that point, literally any kind of touchscreen phone would have been... Actually, no. The slider phone was a touchscreen, but it was like really small. It wasn't like an Android or iPhone or anything. It was like a non-descript... It was like a Boost Mobile slider phone. And it didn't have like it didn't have like an Android OS, or it had apps, but it was like a Boost store thing. It had like it was like really crappy, but I didn't know that at the time. I'm like, touchscreen, yay! Yeah, and so why did I? Oh yeah, the reason I was talking about that. Um, so I can do everything everyone else can do now, and I'm excited. So I'll probably get like earlier when I got excited. I can edit. Yeah, I'm sure like people listening to this was like, yeah, that's very basic. Like, yeah, I know. As for the opening music, I made it in, oh, I don't even remember the app. Like, it was a free mixer app I got on Google, in the Google Play Store. It's called Music Maker Jam. It has a paid version because you can like do the different instruments and like here. Let me just hit play. You can wait. Nah, yeah. Yeah. You can do. You can customize like what key they're in and like the instruments, and I kept hitting different key, like yeah. So it probably sounds like a complete musical mess. It's because it is because I just kept. I don't know much about music. I have bare minimum knowledge about music. I know like it's not good to keep changing keys. Like key changing a song is normal, but when it's like every other note you're changing keys, it's not good. So that's what I did, and and I chose. I went through all the instruments and I was playing around with that. And let's see. Let me add. What's this one? Oh yeah, I was going to incorporate this. I was going to open with that and then start this, but that was gonna take too long. It was already long enough, and I was like, nah, let's not do that. I had to record it twice because I made it too short. I made it like 15 seconds, and I was like, no, I need it longer because I want to fade and I want to like talk over the ending of it, and so uh, I had to re-record it and try to remember exactly where I had the drums come in because I wanted it to sound just the way it did, but just not hit stop too soon. And I think I'm pretty sure I hit it just right. There is a paid version where you can like get more specific. Like I think, like in the paid version, you can like customize like like what it does because the instruments that I picked, they're preset, and that's yeah like a preset music. And in the paid version, you can basically have like a full mixture and have it do whatever you want. But I'm not knowledgeable enough about music to know what to do, and I'm fine with what I got. It's like, okay, this sounds cool to me. I sent it to a few people, and I was like, hey, what does this sound? And they were like, that's cool. And I'm like, yay. I even let my manager listen to it at work, and she was like, wow, that sounds awesome. And so um, I used it. Yay! That was actually my first attempt. I was. What's funny is I was wanting. I didn't want everyone to like it. I wanted somebody to tell me it sucked and how to fix it, but nobody would. So I'm using it as is. And uh, I there was. I'm still trying to think about the other because there was a talking about the website. There was something else I was going to talk about, and I'm still trying to think of that. Because like when I started talking about the website, I was going to talk about. I was like in my mind, I'm thinking it's either talk about the website or talk about Dan, and I chose the website. I was like, I'll come back to that, and then I can't because I don't remember what it was. Oh, okay, yeah. Merch shop. Okay, so Paige from Reverie, she posted she's been posting links. She's got a merch shop thing on uh, Teespring, I think, T something, and I was like browsing around on it, and she's got some cool stuff. And okay, so I purchased one of her shirts, and it charged my card, but then it said the order was it was declined on the site. It said declined, but it charged my card, and I got upset. So yeah, but I went ahead and made my own store in there, and yeah. The only thing I don't like about the store, like, because my logo is a white background with a very colorful text, the digressor, and so all of the shirts, there's blankets, there's mugs, there's all sorts of stuff, even face masks. They're all white with the colorful logo. The only one that's not is the hoodie. They did not have the white option, so it's black with the colorful logo. And like, why isn't there a white option? I wanted to get the hoodie, and nah. And so I'm honestly not expecting anything of it. I haven't. I actually made it like early December, the shop, but I haven't. I have so little faith in it that I didn't even share the link anywhere. I'll post the um I'll post the link to that in the show notes and on the on the YouTube thing. Okay, with the show notes, I've always known it was there on Podcastics when I go to upload the episode. At the very, very bottom, right before you get to upload episode, it has a big text box for show notes, and I've always been like, don't know what that is. Skip. And but what's funny is I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I know that they always say, like, I'll put the link to that in the show notes, and it just goes over my head. Like, I don't even. I never really made the connection that it meant something. And so, somebody asked me to put, like, I don't remember what it was. I was trying to link my podcast, I think it was to Podchaser, and it said put this code in your show notes. It doesn't matter which episode, we'll see it and link, so you have to verify that it's you. And I'm like, show notes, where does my oh and so, and I looked, and I looked to see, like, the purpose of the show notes, and it's for links and stuff. I've never really thought about using that. So I'm thinking about going back, because there's so many times I would have shared links and stuff in the show notes if I had known about it. So, like, as I'm saying, like, I'm still learning. I don't know what I'm doing. I like like I said, like, Paige is my podcast mentor, and there's only so much she can tell me because she's got a life and her own podcast. So she told me enough to get started, and she couldn't tell me everything. Um, so it's mostly me winging it, and yeah. So, like, if it wasn't for her, I'd probably be not as far along, because she like really gave me a head start with everything she told me. So I'm not complaining that she didn't tell me about this. It's like, how dare you not tell me every single thing you know? I'm not doing that. There's a couple other things we're going to talk about. I talked about the main things. There's like little things that I want to talk about now, and I don't remember what they were. Hopefully 2021 is better. I mean, I think that's everyone's been saying that. Like, well, no, so far nobody is saying it's my year, because yeah, definitely not gonna say that. Look what happened last time. Um, but yeah, like, and I started this podcast in September of last year. And so, like, September, like 4 months, the last 4 months I was working on this. And it was, I think those 22 episodes I consider, like, introduction episodes, kind of. Because, like, now that I kind of have an idea what I'm doing, it's like, well, what else can I do? Let's kind of. I'm not trying to get famous on this. I very highly doubt I will, because I'm not trying to do that. I had a coworker the other day or a couple weeks ago was like trying to tell me how to, make it famous. You're going to make it big as a podcaster, and he said you're going to be the next Joe Rogan. And I'm like, I don't want to be Joe Rogan. I don't listen to his show, and I don't want to. Every time I ever hear about him, it's negative things. He's like controversial. I don't want to be controversial. Not to say I won't always stray away from controversial things. I do have plans on going into more serious topics at some point. I'm still not quite at that point. I do have. There is a specific episode I have planned, but that's for a later date. Which, that's probably the most cryptic thing I could possibly say. Or, no, not cryptic. Vague. That's the word I was looking for. Very different word. It's like, I will tell you my future plans. I have plans for an episode. I'm not going to tell you what it is. Just that it's an episode. So, again, I still don't know how long this has been, but considering this is probably because I still don't want to make an episode shorter than the introduction episode, which was 31 minutes, and I don't know how long the episode is so far. I'm just going to keep talking about stuff. Okay, so I said that Sarah and I hung out at Walmart the other day. I bought a game. I was planning on getting 2 games, but I'll get to that. I was going to get the game I got, and either Pokemon Sword or Shield. Pokemon Sword or Shield. I'm not a huge Pokemon fan. I'm not a fan now. Like, I don't really play them, but I get excited when they announce a new one because I have a lot of friends that play it. I basically get excited for them, and I always tell myself I'm going to play it at some point. I have a 3DS. I have a new 3DS XL, and it comes with it came with Pokemon X. And I played that. I got pretty far into that, and it was the most I've ever played in a Pokemon game, and I really liked it. And like one of my really good friends, like she's like the biggest Pokemon fan. Wow, she's the biggest Pokemon. It's because I'm trying to say fan afterwards. My mind's confusing it. If I had finished that thought, I would have said Pokemon Fawn. She's the biggest Pokemon fan I know, and she was basically walking me through like the big parts. Like, she's like, okay, when you get to this part, what you want to do is this. Do not do that. And so like she was helping me with that, not like telling me every step to make. That would have gotten annoying, but she helped me enough that I wasn't completely lost. I knew kind of what I was doing, and I was gonna get Pokemon Sword or Shield. I asked her which one I should get, and she was like, that's really up to you. Like, do you like this or do you like that? And then she sent me a link to a site that like explained the differences, and I'm reading through it, and I'm like, I don't know enough about Pokemon to know what this means. So I figured I'd just get one. I'll just pick one at random when I get to Walmart, and I get there, and they're both $80 each, and I was like, I am not that big of a Pokemon fan. So I did not get that. Instead, what I was going to get one of those, one of those and Yoshi's Crafted World, because I've been wanting to play that forever, and I don't like buying big games on the digital version on Switch, because I'm using my phone's hotspot, and it's not the fastest, and it literally, sometimes it'll take up to a week for a big game to install. It took like 5 days for Animal Crossing to install. So I try not to get the big games on the digital. Like I save those. I get the digital games I get are like the smaller games. I have like Breath of the Wild, like Mario Odyssey physical edition, and so I wanted to get the. It's like Yoshi's Crafted World is like $60 on Amazon, and so when I went to Walmart, it was 40. And I'm like, I'm getting that one. And see, I've been asking people if they it's like, do you remember Yoshi's Island on Super Nintendo? And they were, and so far everyone says no. Like, does nobody remember Yoshi's Island? I liked it. It was like it was technically it was Super Mario World 2, I think. It was like the subtitle like Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island or something like that. And I really liked it. It was one of my favorite SNES games, and not a lot of people remember it. Well, Yoshi's Crafted World, I didn't know this at the time. I just saw a few like clips, and I'm like, that looks awesome. I like Yoshi. I like Yoshi games, and it's basically a modern HD Yoshi's Island, and with like updated mechanics and stuff. It's basically the same thing, and I love it. I don't have a lot of time. Like I've only done like a few levels, but I really like it so far, and I'm so excited. um, yeah, and see what I should have got instead, because I was determined to get two games, but I was determined to get those two games, Yoshi and Pokemon. But when I couldn't afford Pokemon, I mean technically I could have afforded Pokemon because I got my stimulus check. I got it first thing, but I'll get to that. I was determined to get those two. I could have afforded Pokemon, but I wasn't that big of a Pokemon fan. I didn't want to spend $80 for a game I wasn't sure I was gonna like. I'm not that into the series. If it was like Assassin's Creed or like Zelda 2 or something, and it was $80, I would. I mean, Zelda 2, Breath of the Wild 2. I would totally. I'm not paying $80 for Link's Adventure, Adventure of Link. um, yeah. So with the stimulus thing, I use Chime, and I get direct deposits immediately. Like our payday is Monday, and I get paid Thursday. And my coworker's like, "How'd you get paid already?" It's, Chime. And so like when the first stimulus check hit in April, and they said, "Okay, we're gonna start sending them out on this day," and I got it that afternoon. And so they said they're going to start sending the $600 out, and I got it like that next morning. And so I already had January's rent withdrawn because it was the end of the month. I withdraw the rent throughout the month, so I had January's rent, and when I got the stimulus, I withdrew February's rent, so I don't have to worry about it throughout January. So technically, I could have afforded Pokemon, but again, I'm not that into Pokemon. I was still determined to get two games. I should have. There was a game there I wanted, and it was only $50. But in my mind, I'm thinking, I didn't come here for that game. I came here for these games, and it was Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity, and I am regretting not getting it because I watched tonight. I was watching a video about like it was a Zelda theory video, and it showed clips from it, and it just looked so incredible, and I want to play it, and I wish I'd gotten it. The reason I haven't really focused too much on that game though is I played Hyrule Warriors, and it's basically just hack 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 hack, and it's just wave upon wave upon wave of enemies, and you're just clearing them out. And as I played it on a friend's Wii U years ago, and I'm like, this is boring, and he goes, oh no, it's really interesting. I'm like, no, it's not. It is not. This is boring. You're just. It is. I know it's like a spin-off of like a game called like Dynasty Warriors or something, and it's the same thing, just with Zelda characters. And I was like, how is this interesting? It's just a skin change from the other game. And he's like, no, it's really intense. You got to get into it. And then I later found out there actually is a story behind it. and it's technically not canon, but I watched a theory video. I think it might have been a MatPat video, game theory, saying that it should be canon because Nintendo says that Breath of the Wild is the emergence of, I mean, the merging of all three timelines. So that's why you got elements from all three timelines in this game. Like, which timeline is it in? I don't know. It's because the timeline merged. But when did it merge? Hyrule Warriors. I never played the story, so I don't know. I'm just going by what I saw in that theory video. I'm pretty sure it was MatPat, where he was talking about that, like the villain of that, it was some witch or something, and she merged the timelines to for some reason I don't know. I saw the video like a while back, but it makes sense, and I was like, oh, there is a story here, and it's actually a really important one. Okay, and so like with Age of Calamity, I mean, it's a prequel to Breath of the Wild. They're making a sequel. I wanted to play it, but again, in the moment, I was in the mindset of, I didn't come for that game. I'm not getting it. And now looking back, I'm like, well, I could have gotten it. It cost as much as I thought Pokemon was gonna cost, because I thought Pokemon was gonna cost $50, and it cost $80, and so it's not like. See, with Pokemon, I'm not that big of a fan, so it's like I would have played it, and I probably would have been like, this isn't what I thought it was gonna be, and never touch it again. With Hyrule Warriors, it costs the same amount. It's a franchise I love, and I'm more likely to get more into it because it's a prequel to one of my favorite Zelda games. It is my favorite Zelda game. I think it's everyone's favorite Zelda game. I've yet to see anybody say Breath of the Wild sucks. It's the worst Zelda game ever. I've heard people criticize it, like, no game is perfect. So, and like, I've heard people say, here's the flaws in Breath of the Wild. And I watched it, I'm like, okay, your opinion. Still a great game. But yeah. So, this is basically a two-part episode because the first half I talked about the podcast updates. Second half I talked about Switch games. So, yeah. I am going to end the episode here. I still don't have an outro thing to say. Most podcasts I know, they have something they say at the end. And I still don't have... I'm still... Oh, wait. I could just repeat the outro. I could... Oh, wait. I should have outro music. Or should I just use the same... I don't know. I'll figure it out when I stop. If you hear the intro music at the end, that's what I choose to do. I'm basically rambling at this point. So I'm just gonna end this right here.